Hey, Battle Bill here with another video, and today we're going to take a look at some Ultra League Go Battle League battles. So, I'm proud to announce I've finally reached rank 10. I did it a couple days ago, but I'm going to show you the clip of the 5-0 set that I had that propelled me to rank 10. In this clip, you're going to see an interesting team that I've essentially kind of drifted away from. But it got me to 5-0, so it had to be a pretty good team. This team consists of Swampert, Scizor, and Giratina. And essentially what my plan was with this team was to kind of treat Scizor like it's my Registeel, because I don't actually have a Hundo Registeel or a 98% Registeel that I can max out and use in Go Battle League. But I was so close to rank 10 that I wanted to find something that at least has that Steel typing and could hopefully help me out in certain matchups, and definitely give me something that's super effective against Charmers like Togekiss and whatnot. So this first battle, I lead Swampert, and he goes in with Giratina. I decide I want to charge up for an Earthquake here, because it's tough to play this out. My two Pokemon in the back don't exactly have super duper positive matchups against it, so I wanted to at least land some damage. He lets the Earthquake go through, and I bring in Scizor. He throws his charge move. I switch just in time. They didn't realize Scizor was going to come in. He threw his Dragon Claw. I got that energy, but now here comes my first problem. He brings in a Registeel. Now, Scizor does not have that great of a matchup against Registeel. I can start kind of like pecking away at it with these Night Slashes and pray for a boost. And the Bullet Punches, they're neutral damage, but they do, against something like Registeel, they do a pretty good job. And now Registeel is sending its charge move through. If it lands a Focus Blast, it would have definitely KO'd me at that health. Even though Scizor has that Steel typing, Scizor is not exactly like the tankiest. And Focus Blast is a really strong move. And I knew I had energy for a Night Slash that I just threw there, so I wanted to make sure I at least got that off, and I figured I'd get to another charge move before his next charge move. So I'm just trying to chip away at the Registeel. I obviously wouldn't mind getting my Swampert back on the Registeel, but by the time my Switch Clock ran out, or it's actually ran out now, and then I got the boost, but by the time it ran out, I would have brought Swampert in, and then he would have just brought in something to counter my Swampert. So I'm like, alright, I might as well stick with this matchup. I got the boost, so I'm like, I'm going to commit to Scizor now. I can Bullet Punch, he swaps out his Registeel, and now I'm like, oh, this turned into a good situation. Because now I have a boost on Scizor, and he brought in Giratina, and these Night Slashes are going to deal super effective damage. So right here, I'm actually in a pretty positive situation. He shields, so I get his last shield. Now we're both shieldless here, and I have Swampert and Giratina. He has Registeel, and I don't know what his third Pokemon is yet. And then he throws a Shadow Sneak, which was interesting. And I just barely fall short of my charge move. But with that boost, my Bullet Punch has got that Giratina super low. So at this point, I'm waiting out the switch timer. I'm debating on what I want to bring in. I farm down the Giratina. And I know the Registeel is super weak, and he has no shields. So even if he doesn't bring the Registeel in, if I decide to swap in Giratina, the Giratina can still kind of take on his Registeel at such a low health. He brings in his own Swampert, and I'm like, alright, this is a good situation. I throw my Hydro Cannons, because they're going to do good damage. I should be ahead on energy. I'm pretty sure I decided to go for a... No, I swap. That's what I did. I pulled the swap to try and catch the Hydro Cannon, because I knew he had to be close to me on energy, because he got in, I farmed up a little bit, and threw my Hydro Cannon, and I pulled the perfect swap to catch his, which was extremely crucial, because I don't want this Swampert to have a bunch of energy to then land an Earthquake on my Giratina, considering I have no shields. He brings in his Registeel. It's pretty low. I got to the Ancient Power here, so I'm going to throw this. Obviously, I'm going to be hoping for the boost here, because both Dragon Claw and Ancient Power are not very effective moves against Registeel, and they both do minimal damage. I probably do more damage spamming Shadow Claws than landing either of those charge moves. But at this point, I tank another Flash Cannon there, and I'm kind of just farming away at his Registeel, because now it's in Dragon Claw range, and if I land this Dragon Claw, which I'm about to, before his charge move, then I can get to another Dragon Claw to land on his Swampert and essentially end the match, which you'll see there. I got to another Dragon Claw nice and quick. This isn't going to take Swampert out, but it's going to do a good amount of damage, which means he needs to get to an Earthquake, and I don't even want to give him the chance. I knew my Swampert had energy on it, so I'm like, let me swap it in. We CMP tie what I assume is going to be a Hydro Cannon, and I think I survive it just no, I did not survive it. I thought I just barely survived it and got my Hydro Cannon off. But luckily, I had enough energy on Giratina. I charge up to the Dragon Claw, and I take out the Swampert at 1 HP. These Ultra League battles, they're intense. You'll notice the switch timer pretty much is running out in this battle because you're using such bulky Pokemon like Swampert, Swampert's kind of bulky, but like Giratina, like Registeel, they're like the big bulky mons. So a lot of them, like, you make a wrong swap here, or you throw a wrong charge move, or you dump your energy where you're not supposed to, and it's going to completely flip certain matchups because a lot of these matchups end up close. It's very hard to get super hard countered to the point where you don't have a chance in a certain match. So in this next battle, I'm going against 77, 8, 99. I thought that was pretty clever. And again, I'm sticking with this team. I'm just going to commit to it. I try to go with whatever works until Niantic wants to match me up against people that are going to hard counter my leads. But we have a Swampert on Swampert matchup here, and I'm curious to see who's going to win the CMP. We both get to the Hydro Cannon. I kind of assume I'm going to lose every CMP matchup with my Swampert because it's actually an Ultra League Pundo that I'm pretty proud of. But that also means it has like 0 attack. So the only time I'm going to win that CMP matchup is if their Swampert has 0 attack and I just get the luck of the draw. So he throws his first. I decide to shield the Hydro Cannon he throws. We CMP tie again. And I'm like, alright, I'm going to take this Hydro Cannon to the face at this point because I already shielded one. He's probably going to shield the next one I throw anyway. And I had to figure out a different plan. He somehow swapped in his Gyarados. Did you see that? I really hope Niantic works on that because you'll see before I clicked that Hydro Cannon at the same time as his. There should never have been a window for him to be able to swap in his Gyarados. So Hydro Cannon lands on it. I bring in Scizor because it's kind of my best option against Gyarados. And I don't know what he has in the back, but Giratina has good matchups against a lot of different mons, and I don't want my Giratina taking these Dragon Breaths to the face. I throw another Night Slash here, and I'm thinking to myself, he's really charged up a lot of energy. So he shields that Night Slash. I'm like, this has to be a Hydro Pump. This has to be. He's charged up so much energy. Ends up being a Hydro Pump, so I shielded it. At this point, I'm like, oh, now I'm really golden because he dumped all his energy. I'm just going to commit to the farm down, and whatever comes in is just going to take a Night Slash to the face. So I'm waiting. I'm assuming it's going to be Swampert back. It is Swampert back because Swampert has a good matchup against Scizor, and it charged up Hydro Cannons quick, which would take down my Scizor at this health. So I land one Night Slash. I'm hoping I can get to another one, and I just barely get to it. This should either force his last shields or KO the Swampert, and then I have 3 Pokemon against whatever his last one is. And I'm hoping at this point that it's something that's weak to Giratina. He throws his Hydro Cannon, which ends up being even better for me because with Swampert's little bit of health left, I can bring my Giratina in and try and farm it down. He swaps out, which is a smart thing to do, and it ends up being Clefable, and I'm like, oh no. I gotta either hope for the boost, or I need to throw these Ancient Powers as fast as I possibly can. I have, my Scizor's dead, so I bring in my Swampert, and I'm like, you know what? I know his Clefable just came in, and it's going to take a while to get to those charge moves. Let me get off whatever damage my Swampert can get off, and let my Swampert eat most of these charms. And I throw the Hydro Cannon, and it does a bunch of damage, which is great, but he's just going to charm me down at this point. So, Clefable's almost dead. Clefable's moveset doesn't really help its fairy typing. As much as it has Meteor Mash, which counters other fairies, Charm takes forever to charge up those kinds of moves. And Meteor Mash does a decent amount of damage, but if it had like a good fairy charge move to use, it definitely would have helped it a lot more in the situation. So I end up taking it down. I ended up having enough energy for his Swampert coming back in, so it doesn't matter if he had energy or not. I throw the Dragon Claw, and this ends up being GG. So off to a great start. I'm looking like I love this team. I mean, like I said, I go 5-0 in this set, so I just want to really talk through the matchups and show you the strengths of this team, because it is a good team, but Niantic really has the system set up in a certain way, I believe. I mean, this is all speculation. I don't have actual answers or proof to this, but as you use a team more and more, I feel like you start to lose leads more and more because Niantic's paying attention to what team you're bringing, whatever their system is. I sound crazy. Regardless, this next match is against 1, 2, 3 Say Ya. I get matched up with this person a lot. In my first Go Battle League, I think this person was one of the battles that I had. So we have Swampert against the Scavalier, and I'm like, damn, I don't really know how to play out this matchup. So I'm just going to go for the Hydro Cannons, because I know a Scavalier is glassy, but I know it's strong. It has counter, which does a lot of damage to Swampert, and it has interesting charge moves. It gets Aerial Ace, which he just threw. Also gets Mega Horn. I shielded because I was worried about the Mega Horn, because I don't know how much damage that does to my Swampert. And right here, I'm throwing another Hydro Cannon. I apologize for me drinking water. My throat's very dry. I promise. I'm not sick or anything like that. My throat's just been dry all day. You know, this quarantine keeps me inside all day. So I decided to take my Swampert out because I feel like I'm going to lose lead. And if he throws Aerial Ace or even Mega Horn, I don't have to shield here because Scizor takes neutral damage and Aerial Ace is just a weak charge move. He brings in his own Swampert, and I have energy luckily, but this isn't a good situation for me. Unless I somehow get the boost. So I throw this Night Slash, and I'm just trying to do as much damage to a Swampert as I possibly can. I'm not really, I'm halfway to my charge move, but again, Night Slash doesn't do a lot. So I'm just going to let this Hydro Cannon come in and finish me off. I'm pretty sure I farmed up good energy on my Swampert, but Giratina also has a good matchup against Swampert, and I don't remember what my next plan of action was. I did go with Swampert because of the fact I had energy, and I decided to throw the Hydro Cannon as quick as I can to either force the shield or get it low enough where it would be in farm range for my Giratina. So he doesn't shield, which is, like I said, a good thing because I end up deciding to shield. I'm surprised I shielded that, to be honest. I guess I was hoping I could beat it to the next Hydro Cannon. So I do end up shielding that, and oh, I go for another sack swap. I really wanted to catch another Hydro Cannon like I did in the other match. And it doesn't end up working. He brings in Registeel, and now I'm trying to figure out how I got myself out of this one. I might have gotten the Ancient Power Boost to bail me out. Yeah, I got the Ancient Power Boost to bail me out of this match, essentially. I've been hearing a lot of the big Pokemon Go PvP YouTubers talking about how overpowered that boost is, and I completely agree. You'll notice these Flash Cannons don't do anywhere near as much damage as they usually would, and even the Ancient Powers I'm going to continue to throw are going to start doing more damage, and essentially takes a match that I definitely should have lost. Like, I should have lost this match. Registeel has a positive matchup against Giratina, and the Registeel had a shield on top of it. So I definitely should have lost this match, and I end up winning because of that boost. So I 100% agree that it needs to be nerfed in a way, and Niantic actually just came out and announced this Grass-type month that we're having, and a lot of Grass-type moves have just been boosted, and in the process, they took the 3 main moves that give this kind of Ancient Power boost, which are Ancient Power, Ominous Wind, and Silver Wind, and they nerfed the amount of damage those moves do. So they still have a chance of getting that same super strong boost that I just got in this match, but they're going to be doing less damage when you throw the moves, so you got to really decide if getting a 10% boost is really worth it. Because as much as it bailed me out of this match, that doesn't happen as often as I obviously would want it, because, you know, it's not really fair to continuously get bailed out of matches like that. So he swaps into Scavalier, I threw a Dragon Claw right away, take it out, and I built up enough energy so that I could throw this Dragon Claw also on his Registeel, or her Registeel, and take out that Pokemon too. I was debating farming down the Registeel, but I didn't remember, or I couldn't remember how much energy it had. So I'm like, let me not take any chances. She has Swampert in the back, so I'm like, let me bring in my Swampert as energy. Let's just finish this match off. So after the Hydro Cannon right away, and that ends up being GG for this match. So tell me in the comments what you think of the recent update to the moves. I just love when Niantic makes like updates to PvP. I would really love if they could get a grip on these servers. I don't understand why there's such a struggle. Maybe somebody can explain to me in the comments why Niantic has such a struggle. But they make so much money off of us, and I have no problem putting more and more money into this game. It's the fact that I put all this money into the game, and we can't even get decent servers to PvP, which is literally the main reason why I still play this game. I was waiting for PvP for the longest. In my mind, I was only continuing to play before PvP happened, hoping that PvP would be a thing, and it's here, and I love it. I love the way the system is set up. I think they did a great job with Go Battle League. I think it still works well with Sylph in their tournaments. They can both live in harmony together. I just wish there wasn't any lag. Is that so much to ask for? Maybe. I guess so, because it's such a struggle. So anyhow, this next match is against Fly Eagles, and you clearly can see that I got a Swampert against his Togekiss. I throw the Hydro Cannon right away. And now, one of the main things with this team that I have is Registeel is a problem. Like you saw in the last match, I only won because I got bailed out by the Ancient Power boost, and I can't count on that. Swampert's my main Pokemon to go against Registeels. And I lead with it because I've been running into a bunch of Registeel leads before I use this team. And funny enough, I barely run into any Registeel leads after I start using this team. But regardless, my plan here is to not completely let Swampert go down. So I end up charging up a bunch of Hydro Cannons. I'm throwing this one. I'm about to get his second shield. He decides to shield this, which I found fascinating. And I'm like, alright, at this point, since he's shielded here, I'm going to swap in my Scizor, and I'm just going to try and take it down as much as I can. Because I needed to keep Swampert alive. I could not lose that 2-shield matchup. He must have really wanted switch advantage and to like command the lead. So I'm like, alright, I just got to keep Swampert alive in case there's a Registeel in the back. Now I have Scizor going against his Swampert, and this is not a good situation for me. I have a shield, but he sent this move so quickly that I knew it had to be Hydro Cannon. You really want to go for Earthquake in that situation. As much as it's neutral damage on Scizor, it does more damage, and it would take out the Scizor. So I go for the Night Slash here. I'm hoping for a boost. I know I don't really need it that badly here, and I really can't count on it. And now we got a lag, and I was trying to get to that Night Slash. It was one of those lags where like you have a little bit of energy and then your energy just pops up out of nowhere, but I still wasn't close to Night Slash, so it didn't have an effect. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? It's not worth using my next shield, so let me keep the shield advantage. Don't remember exactly what I did here. Swampert's close to farm range for my Giratina, so I decided to bring in the Giratina. And I know an Earthquake's coming, but I know I also can tank it, and I don't know what this person's third Pokemon is. So I'm like, let me tank the Earthquake. I'm going to charge up to this Dragon Claw. I'm extremely worried about a Registeel, and that's why I did the immediate swap like that. Ends up being a Charizard, so I was really thrown for a loop. I had some energy, trying to go for the Hydro Cannon as fast as I could, but I was so low that he can get to a Dragon Claw, and that would have taken my Swampert out, so I have to use my shield there. And Charizard, which I find interesting, is tanky enough in Ultra League to actually survive a Hydro Cannon. So I give it some props, because in a Great League battle, this would have one-hit KO the Charizard. So it has a little bit of health left. I'm trying to get to that next Hydro Cannon to finish it off, and he throws his Dragon Claw just in time to take me down, which is okay, because now Giratina can come in and farm the remaining health off of this Charizard. I'm not going to throw any of my charge moves. There's no point. I might as well take the extra energy. And now you'll notice I'm tapping away from my charge moves because he has Swampert and Togekiss left. If I throw Dragon Claw right away, it's not going to hurt the Togekiss. If I decide I want to throw Ancient Power right away, it's not going to hurt the Swampert. So I had to see the Pokemon, and then I threw my Ancient Power. That was extremely key in pulling this match off. A lot of people want to throw their charge moves right away. I could not take that chance here because if it was a 50-50 shot, and if I was wrong, it might have screwed me out of the match. But I had a bunch of energy, so I get to that Dragon Claw immediately, and now I'm going to throw it, and that's going to take out the remaining sliver of health that Swampert has. So at this point, I am 4-0 in the set. There have been some really good matches here. And like I probably already mentioned, I don't remember if I did or not, this team is very boost dependent. This team can work well. It has some good synergy. And when it gets a boost, it's pretty overpowered. But I mean, you could say that about a lot of teams. But I like having that Scizor there for the Charm and the Fairy counter. And I like having Swampert there for the Registeel counter. And Giratina all by itself in Ultra League. Well, now before this current nerf, I wonder how Giratina is going to turn out now. But before the current nerf, it's about to get is just an overall just strong Pokemon, tanky Pokemon. It can hang with a majority of other Pokemon. So it's a safe Pokemon to go with in Ultra League. So this next matchup, we have Swamperts against each other, and I throw my Hydro Cannon, which I ended up throwing it first, which I found fascinating, because like I mentioned earlier, I have a Pundo, and I was confused as to how I won CMP there. He must also have one that has 0 attack, which means that it essentially becomes a 50-50 shot of who's going to win CMP. I decided to shield. He decided not to. It doesn't really matter too much in the situation because he's just going to shield here, and I'm just going to tank his next Hydro Cannon. It all really depends on how I decide to play the rest of this out. Now, I also have to keep in mind that, again, Swampert is my main and my only Registeel counter. So I want to keep this Swampert alive, and he decides to actually go for the swap, which was fascinating. And he catches my Hydro Cannon, which he did a really good job at. So I ended up throwing it. I have now decided at this point that I'm going to swap in Scizor. Scizor does good work against Giratina, but you'd prefer to go up against a Dragon Breath Giratina because it's Steel, it resists the Dragon Breath damage, and Dragon Breath also takes a lot longer to charge up the charge moves that Giratina has. In this case, you mostly see Shadow Claws, so Scizor is not the best counter for it, because when Giratina is running Shadow Claw, it charges up Ancient Powers like that one a lot quicker, and you can see it did like a third of my health. As much as the Night Slashes do super effective damage, and that's great, it kind of is just comparable to how much damage his Ancient Power is doing to my Scizor. So I throw a Night Slash here. He decides not to shield, which I found interesting. I guess he wanted to keep the shield advantage, and he also has a Swampert, so his Swampert can kind of just finish off my Scizor regardless and maybe farm up a little bit of residual energy on top of it. I know my Night Slash isn't going to be enough, so I let my Scizor go down to that Hydro Cannon, and at this point I'm like, you know what, let me bring in my Giratina, because again, if he has, I'm very worried about Registeel in the back. That's what I'm constantly worried about with this team. So I'm like, let me bring in Giratina here. It can tank an Earthquake. Let me keep the shield again in case my Swampert needs it against the Registeel. And he throws in, look at that, Registeel. So I have Swampert in here. Those lock-ons don't do any damage. So even though I was a little slow on the switch, I can shield this Flash Cannon because Swampert's pretty much in Flash Cannon range. And I can go for my charge moves. Now, I want to bait because I need to land this Earthquake. I feel like this bait's super obvious, but at the same time, it's hard to take a chance when my opponent's in the situation he's in. So he shields that Hydro Cannon, and I'm like, alright, great. Now I just got to beat him to this next charge move. I think I just barely beat him. I land this Earthquake, which isn't going to take out the Registeel, because Registeel is just that tanky. But it's got him at a good health where Mud Shots are still doing good damage to him and almost taking him down. And now my Giratina can come back in, farm the Registeel down, and whatever energy I have left can then be thrown at his Swampert. So the situation works itself out. I'm Shadow Clawing. I was going to farm down. He realized I was going to farm down, so I'm like, let's throw the Dragon Claw. Let's not take any chances of him having any Hydro Cannons, because if he has a Hydro Cannon and then Registeel had a Flash Cannon, those two moves would have been enough to take down my Giratina. But I had so much energy farmed up that I was able to throw my Dragon Claw right away and not have to worry about that. So I go 5-0 in this set. I like this team, but when I lose lead with this team, that's a big issue. That's a big issue with a lot of teams in Go Battle League, just in general, whether it's Great League, Ultra League, or Master League. Winning lead is just so important. Like, you'll lose an entire match if you just lose lead, because then that person has the essential switch advantage on you, because if you lose the lead, you got to get out of that situation. So if they have Pokemon in the back that counter your Pokemon in the back, everything lines up nicely, and doesn't matter what the lead is, majority of the time you're going to lose, depending on, of course, if the counters match up or not. But overall, tell me what you think of the team in the comment section. I would love to hear. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. The last few videos, considering it's been only my first 3 videos on YouTube, have done some pretty decent numbers, and I appreciate all the feedback I'm getting from you guys. Also, just let me know what teams you've been running in Ultra League, because I've been playing around with a lot. I think right now I'm actually running Articuno, Swampert, and Giratina. Honestly, if you have a core of Swampert and Giratina, you can run like a lot of different third Pokemon with that core. So let me know what Pokemon you've been having success with in Ultra League, Go Battle League battles, and the next video will be on Voyager Cup battles. See you in the next episode.